The next metric we'll talk about is user satisfaction. And the first thing we'll discuss is why is collecting this sort of data important? The three key reasons. First of all, these surveys help agencies assess effectiveness of projects and programs. The second is that they help gauge community awareness and support of new projects and programs. And the flip side of that being that there's also an opportunity to see where community support or awareness is lacking, and specifically with the ability to use some of the demographic data within these surveys to perform some crosstab analysis in the post-data processing. The third reason is that this provides a specific template that can help measure user satisfaction consistently for different types of projects and programs throughout the state. So we'll start with an overview. This is going to be a rather short training. If you joined us before for a webinar, you know that the 5 stars on the bottom sort of rate the level of difficulty or the level of effort that it would take an agency to perform this analysis. We've given this a 2 out of 5 stars, so I believe that this should be a pretty light lift. And as with all the webinars in the series, we'll be including the set of instructions, the physical Excel tool, and a recording of this instructional video on the ATRC website. So what is this tool? We've created essentially 2 survey templates for you to choose from, one for infrastructure projects and the other for infrastructure programs. And you will decide sort of which works better for the project or program that you are working with. Again, we really want this, this is about consistency. This is about measuring awareness and satisfaction over a large group of projects kind of throughout the state. And so we do want to keep these surveys as close to the template as possible. There is the opportunity, of course, to potentially add these questions to an existing survey, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The materials you'll need, again, this really depends on how you'd like to distribute the survey. So that could be either in person or online. We know many of you, if not all of you, have distributed and successfully gotten data from your community members. So we'll really leave those decisions up to you. So the instructions are, first, select the appropriate survey. There again are 2 options, infrastructure or non-infrastructure. The second is to distribute the survey. We really hope that you collect at least 200 surveys for a reliable sample size. And if you choose to host an online survey, it should be open for at least 2 weeks is the general rule. The third piece, once all that data is collected, is to input the data into a spreadsheet. So you can see on the bottom part of my screen, this is what our spreadsheet looks like. This is very simple. So if you choose to do an online survey, you will be responsible for creating that online survey, depending on the platform you choose to use, whether it's SurveyMonkey or Google Forms or anything like that. You can then export that data into an Excel sheet. We have actually drop down options for each of these rows because if you go back, you can see that there's an overview sheet that summarizes all of these very simply. And so the responses need to be consistent. So each response, 1 through 200, is what we have in this sheet. Will need answers to each of these. So 1 respondent is 1 row. You can obviously leave questions blank. The questions are summarized in the summary sheet by responses to that question, not the total of survey responses, just a way to gauge awareness question by question. Again, so for example, question number 4 is, do you support continued investment in programs like this in your community? The answer is yes or no, and it will then summarize on that sheet based on how many people answered yes or answered no, and the total being the number of people who answered question 4. So once you've completed that, everything will be summarized on the cover sheet and it will calculate automatically. Those will really be the metrics and the relevant metrics for reporting to ATRC. So again, if you are using these this survey, you're tacking these questions on to an existing survey, which is absolutely an option. If you'd like to do that, really what this metric is focused on are these questions that are available. And so that cover sheet will be what you will submit once your survey analysis is complete, exporting a PDF of that first Excel tab. And you will submit the finalized tool to the ATRC Accounts Plus Smartsheet portal, which we've talked about a few times, but in case you haven't joined us for, we will go over that again. So you'll submit your data here. So to submit, you'll navigate to the Accounts Plus user satisfaction page on the Active Transportation Resources website, and you'll click Submit Your Data. You'll enter the information into the fields, including the submittal date, your contact information, cycle number, PPNO, and from the drop-down menu, you will select user satisfaction. Under the data upload, drag and drop the files to include a completed user satisfaction tool Excel file. You can either include the entire Excel file if you save it, or just a PDF of that summary sheet. And then you'll click submit, and that will help us keep track of all your submissions. And hopefully, if you're working with us on a number of different Accounts Plus metrics, we can kind of keep all of your responses for your projects or programs in the same place. That's all for today. Thanks so much.